And just like that, it's episode 4. Welcome back to Bored to Death, the podcast where I'm buzzed in 2 desperados. It's going fast. It's going really fast. As I said, episode 4. This week we've got Danny, Mark, and Nathan.
Whoop whoop.
And how are you feeling?
Yeah, good man. Glad to be here.
I wish I'd waited until we're recording to crack the can so I could think I was recording. Good.
Good?
Yeah, it's all right.
Perfect. Danny, I'm going to look at you first.
Great. Okay.
And we're going to take it back, as we always do at the start of every episode, to the very beginning. How did you get involved in skateboarding, and do you remember getting your first skateboard?
Oh, yes. I had a Toys R Us skateboard.
Classic.
Probably.
This has been mentioned, specifically Toys R Us.
Yeah, I think probably if I say this, a million people, well, maybe not a million, but loads of people will realise that they probably had the exact same skateboard, but it had this like zombie dude on the front and it was an absolute piece of shit. But when you're 5-6 years old, you don't actually think about what it's for, and you just sit about and look cool holding it and stuff like that. And then as I grew up in the East End of Glasgow, there was no facilities for it, there was no anything, there was just hills to sit down, have fun. And then once I got a bit older, I started standing up and going down these hills and started building my own little sort of ramps and things to skate. And then went to school in Hillhead in the West End of Glasgow, which is right next to the Kelvin Grove skate park. Made loads of pals that were into predominantly skateboarding, but there was a couple of rollerbladers that we won't talk about. And yeah, it sort of took over my life from there, really, which is been great, and I've been doing it for the past 20 years pretty much. So
has it been a constant, or has there been times like you've kind of the interest has faded out and there's been a year or two where you've fallen away from it?
Not for me, no. I know there's been a lot of people that sort of they lose interest because they discover alcohol, drugs, and partying.
No, it's true.
But I found that actually kind of went hand in hand when I was 18 years old. I did a lot of traveling. I lived in Barcelona for a year. Skateboarding over there sort of opened lots of doors for me, and then it's just one of those sort of chatting points. You can go anywhere in the world, and it really sort of makes like it's just a sort of point of interest for the guy from San Francisco that you've sort of just bumped into in the local park. I think it's just one of those good things to talk about, really.
And then for you, like, became a bit of a career?
Yeah, it's like I'm fully immersed in skateboarding. I've been running the idea of Reply has been going since about 2012. And at that point, I was a kind of poor student trying to figure out how do I sort of go in a certain direction and what do I do. At the time, I was studying music. We were talking about punk, and everyone was sort of like, the punk movement was all about sort of doing it yourself, and those record labels sort of starting up, and it's just guys in their sort of bedrooms being like, right, okay, I really like this band, we'll put them out on our own record label. And I was like, right, okay, well, why can't that sort of same ethic apply to skateboarding? Being a skateboarder, sort of involved myself. I had no technical sort of background in sort of making skateboards, so it's sort of, people like the idea of using their old boards, but not sort of like as a sort of serious skateboard. It's like a little cruiser or a wet weather board or something like that. And then sustainability sort of started piquing a lot of people's interests, and that's where I sort of realised, hang on a minute, like if you're cutting down trees to make skateboards, that's affecting the environment. I've looked into a hell of a lot more than that. It's just sort of skimming the surface, I suppose, and seen the benefits of what sustainability within skateboarding can provide, but also sort of socialism and sort of working with community groups or people that don't have access to skateboarding, and trying to even scale back the costs of, if you wanted a sort of brand new setup that wasn't even a sort of middle of the range thing, it's quite hard to get a hold of them. Maybe not so much now, but 2017 skateboarding wasn't as popular, so there's a lot of kids, certainly in the East End of Glasgow as well, where Reply started, that needed access to boards. And I was like, well, we've got these old boards, we can do this whole sort of workshop where we teach you how to refurbish it, and it sort of grew arms and legs, and I ended up in Palestine in 2019,
nice,
which was quite an experience. And since then it's really like opened the industry up, and sort of almost the pathway to having a career within the skateboarding industry has become a lot clearer to me because of this niche that I've found myself in, which I would never have imagined even 5 years ago. So
no, it's like
good times.
It's amazing. The whole concept of Reply, everything's amazing. Like I remember the first time seeing it and being like engrossed in the Instagram page. And like when you said 2012 there, I did Instagram stalk you. Like I went right down and it was like from 2013 almost, like just like constant. So no, good for you. Like genuinely, like
I know,
so good.
It's one of these things that you would never have like. Well, I certainly am still trying to get my head around. And now I've got big like international companies coming to me and saying we really like what you're doing, or people speaking to me that I'm like, I sort of idolized you when I was younger, and now I'm like, the world's a small place really, and it's nice to have something to talk about.
Nah, I love it. I love
sick, man. Really sick.
What is your actual process of, you know, taking the boards and doing what you do with them?
So basically, a lot of people, I'm not entirely sure what a lot of people think, but we've made some videos in the past and it's basically like, it's like a promo video, like, right, okay, we're not going to cut out any of it. It's literally just reshaping. So you take an old board. We get quite a lot of relatively unscratched, undamaged boards, and we can sort of sand it down, take the D-lams out or cut the D-lams out. So you've got a sort of shovel shaped board that you can cut out like the D-lams. Obviously, if boards are cracked and snapped, we won't use them as skateboards, but you can use them for things like jewelry or bottle openers or trinkets sort of thing. And we pass things on to other skateboard recyclers, but we predominantly want to turn skateboards into more skateboards, really.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you, man?
Exactly, exactly. So it's actually really interesting to see what some people think is sort of waste. It's another man's treasure sort of thing.
Big time, man.
And there's been skate shops that have passed me like absolutely trashed, like you wouldn't even look at them, and I'm like, right, cool, what can I do with this? And I've done a lot of work with the community groups, like I said. I've done a lot of work with other sort of people, no comply jewelry.
Yeah, they're trophies.
Wow. We do a sort of good trade sort of thing, so they give me sort of nicer boards. But we did this collab where we took the majority of the fucked boards that we had, I shaped them up and they sort of inlaid all these beautiful colours, and we sold them
nice.
for quite a mad amount of money actually. So is again, someone's going to chuck it in the bin, but I sort of see it as a gift.
Yeah,
totally, man.
A whole new life.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've been doing a lot of work with Route 1 actually. They do this thing called the Deck Cycle Scheme, where they basically encourage customers to basically bring in their old boards and then they'll get money off a new board.
That's amazing.
And there's 8 stores around the UK. Route 1 are huge in Europe.
There just needs to be more of that. Like there needs to be, obviously within skateboards as well, but even like the concept of that is so old. Like, do you remember, I don't know if they definitely don't still do this, but do you remember like the Iron Brew bottles?
Yeah.
Oh,
the Coke bottles, yeah.
Back and that.
He's just like that stuff, like even in the world we're living in now, that stuff is more relevant than it's ever been. So
exactly.
More of that.
That's the funny thing about what I've been doing is like I was never into sustainability or saving the planet sort of thing, but I was passionate about skateboarding, and it's actually sort of pushed me in that direction. So much so that we did a big exhibition with Route 1 in November 2021 over COP26, and we raised 22 grand for sustainable charities, which is pretty good. And yeah, it's sort of like, I suppose if you can sort of see a pathway and the thing that you've got the idea and the passion for, who's going to stop you? Do you know what I mean? It's quite good.
I get it. Mark, over to you. It's the same question. Where did it all start with skateboarding?
I started when I was like 15-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was. Pretty late. But I mean, before that, I mean, I had like been around skateboards. My cousin skated. I'd fucked about with one before. Came down to the park when I was like 15 years old or something. And then I just wanted to keep going after that. The people there were awesome. Just loved to skateboard after that. It was just very inviting down there. Made me want to stay like no other place has. The first sort of like decks and like things like that I'd got given, were given to me from like people. Yeah. I had crux, like old crux that stick out. You know, it's not the greatest thing to skate. It was like probably a year after when I snapped them that I got real trucks.
Crocs are still going strong.
They're a lot better now than they were. I mean, the Kingpin was like, you know, it was sticking right out there, you know, past the wheels. I don't know why that was a thing.
Design flaw.
Yeah.
Nathan, over to you. What about the same?
Yeah, man. I mean, I started properly, I suppose, about the same age, like 15. But yeah, I totally remember the first time I ever stepped on a board. Primary school, these two guys had like got themselves boards and were like started talking all American and that. They were like, get right into it. And I do remember slapping that board down and being like, oh yeah, this will be easy, man. Jumped on it, just feet like swiped away like a wee cartoon and like landed flat down, absolutely nailed myself. And then, you know, that was my skating career for the next couple of years. Just not touching anything.
Got the slams out of the way.
Yeah, got that big slam out of the way.
He is the worst slammer.
Yeah, I've got 2 kneecaps, man.
For I think about
Jesus.
2 years, he had like this monolithic fucking swell
big
ball
swell
right
ball as
over
well,
his
man.
arm.
It's pretty small now, you can just see that tiny wee bump. But that used to be from there to there. But then, yeah, about the age of 15, I got a Sports Direct Airwalk board.
Legit.
Mine was the same. I've said before on the show. It was a Sports Direct, but it was even called Sports Direct then. Like it was called like Sports and Soccer.
You know, it's a class board when it's like a shoe brand on a skateboard, like an Airwalk skateboard.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I used to just there was a skate park in the Northeast back then. It was that Tans Hall, but it was like
Steel ramps.
gnarly steel ramps.
The ramp we have now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
got,
man.
you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ramp we've got now.
But we never skated that because it was just gnarly. All the sheets were like peeling up, so it was just like razor blades everywhere.
Tetanus
and, like,
hazard.
Yeah. Fucking yeah, concrete was like just full of pits everywhere and that. So me and a couple of my pals, we just used to go out and like just skate on like the street in front of your house and like bomb like the shallowest hills you've ever seen in your life, but like be holding on for dear life and that, and like
It's very limited what we could do on the
was,
streets
man, it
in
was
Glenrothes
big
because it's not skatable. It's the crustiest of like spots that you know exist are in Glenrothes.
Glenrothes is a crust town, man. Like,
we went on a sort of street adventure like a couple of weeks ago with Matty and Scott and Matty Welsh and Scott Ramsey, and I think we ended up in the like next to the Kingdom Centre. And they just took one look at it and it was like, what the fuck is this?
shaking their heads and sighing. Like, oh no.
You guys need to come to Glasgow more often.
Definitely, man. That's what I was saying. It's like as soon as we hit some like cityscapes, it was just looking like, look at that, man.
I kind of like it though. I kind of like the crustiness of Glenrothes, and I like some of the spots that are
you
there.
like it until you come and skate Glasgow.
And what about Don't Comply?
What about Don't Comply? It's a good
What
question.
about them?
Aye. What about those guys, eh?
Well, not for long. Don't comply for long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I suppose we've got a kind of special announcement to make, I suppose.
Love it.
So, you know, we've been running this Don't Comply thing for a while.
About a year and a half or something. It's been going on.
So it started off just like during lockdown. Like, we were all furloughed. I got myself a GoPro. We like, started like making some videos and that like took up all my lockdown spare time, was like learning how to use like DaVinci, like the most complicated fucking video editor out there, and started making some videos, and then just that we put them somewhere, so put them up on YouTube, and then just thought, well, I don't want this YouTube channel to just be my name or whatever, so we gave it a name, Don't Comply, and then
Which kind of sucks in retrospect.
yeah, I'm not a big fan anymore. So, and then this is when the Crisp skate park was running in Glenrothes, and then because of lockdown and him not being able to be open, he was still paying his rent every single month, huge costs.
Passed the ramp on.
Yeah, he had to shut down, passed the ramp on. He was just like, look, we've got this half pipe, or like, well, we said any ramp you want, like, do you want it? And we're just like, straight away, yes, we'll take that. No idea where we're going to put this, no idea how we're going to move it. Like, the thing weighs like 5 fucking tons or something. It's a steel metal ramp with still got the metal on the surface with just a bit of ply over the top. So
yeah, it made it super hard to skate as well, that you just put the wood on the top. But
yeah. So he didn't bother stripping it or anything when it was in that park. He just like layered it with some thin plywood and was like, "Boff, done. Skate that, guys."
But I mean, thank you to him.
Yeah.
for doing it.
Thank you, Colin. You're the man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up just finding this like sketchy burnt down warehouse.
It's where I
with no
worked.
roof.
It's where I worked.
Yeah, round the back of where Mark worked.
I used to put up sheds and like, I don't know, like before and kind of during the pandemic pandemic, I was like putting up sheds, and the old guy that runs it, Bob, who's like the sketchiest guy
Dodgy
ever.
Bob.
He was like, they used to make hand grenades down there in World War II, but it's totally fucked now.
That's right,
Just put your ramp there. So we put the ramp there.
So the guy that was operating it, like on the switchboard, was like
He was the boss.
He was the boss, but his 90-year-old
The
co-worker
decrepit
was the
old
guy
man.
who was like strapping it up and like standing
Dying on the job.
underneath this ton ramp, like holding it with one arm, trying to spin it round to line it up with this tiny high ab that was not big enough to get these ramps on.
Like almost got like dropped on him, you know.
Yeah,
like
well, he did drop a bit of it, didn't he?
Yeah, he almost dropped it on the old man, and
aye.
the whole time the guy was like working. It looked like he was going to die. It looked like he was going to have a heart attack and just
heavy
die.
breathing.
The heavy breathing, and
yeah. I'd take a break every 2 minutes to get his hands on his knees and
just pant it out, man. How much did we pay for that? Like 280 quid or something to move a ramp from Mark Inch to
the back of Leslie.
to back of Leslie, and that's
Can I get this guy's number?
no, you don't want that guy's number.
Yeah, but we do have a good contact now that moved. The second time we got it moved, those guys were amazing.
Wilson.
It was on that high ab in like 5 minutes, man. They were great. They were absolutely brilliant. Like, so anyway, we're a bit sidetracked there. So yeah, we had that there, and then we've got ourselves the unit that we've got now, moved it all in there. And ever since then, that's when we've been able to like actually like open it up to the public and let folk come and skate, because there's no point having that like awesome ramp and keeping it for yourself, man. So yeah, I've had it in there, and then so over the first winter, it was like, I mean, we all work full time, so it's like trying to like be open for folk to come and skate. We sort of worked at like, give us a message, come and organise a session, and we'll get someone to open up, and then someone would be like, oh, can we come down on Wednesday? And it's like, oh well, I'm busy, Mark's busy, oh Lee can't go make it later. So it was just a total hassle. And then over this winter is when it started sort of becoming, like, in quotes, successful or whatever.
Sustainable,
that's a better word.
Because I mean, it was out of our own pockets the whole entire. I think we've spent
like 15 grand or something. Man.
Something like that, just in trying to keep it like, you know,
Yeah.
going with like resources, rent.
Yeah, so the rent's a big killer, and then obviously the build cost. Because when we got it in that unit, we stripped everything off it, right down to the skeleton
frame,
of the ramp, basically, which took forever because it's all
all
steel.
this is documented in video if you're interested in seeing it.
Yeah, no, if you give out the link, will go in the description.
But I mean, it is kind of cool, the fact that, you know, the ramp was where 2 minutes from my house, just this half pipe, and I mean, it went to Leslie.
It's a well-travelled half pipe.
It went to Mark Inch, it went to Leslie, it went to Kirkcaldy, and then, you know, it might end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, the point that we wanted to arrive at in the first place is that we're no longer don't comply in our CIC that we've got.
As of
you know.
today, we've got the email back today. We are now a registered CIC, Community Interest Company. We'll be changing the name to Woody's Skate Park. So yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
Exciting things coming. What we do every episode is we do something called 10Q, which is just 10 questions that I throw out there. If you just hit them back. We've opened it up to Instagram, to all of our followers, to send in some questions. I want to say as well, I'm going to read these questions out, and I apologise profusely if I fuck up your Instagram name, because some of you have really fucked up Instagram names. I'm like, I just don't know how to pronounce it. Like, literally, some of it looks German. I'm just like, no.
I might know that guy.
Oh, yeah. So this one is from David Snrub. How do you deal with misdirected backlash of non-skaters trashing our parks?
Big brush.
That's the simple
Big
answer.
brush and whatever, you know, that thing that we
squeegee.
own. No, the leaf blower, you know,
the
a
leaf blower,
leaf
yeah.
blower and a
Oh,
brush
guys.
and a towel.
Invest in a leaf blower. That's like the best purchase you've ever made for cleaning up parks.
It sounds like you guys have got it sussed. We're still trying to work it out here. We, in regards to that, the Transport Museum, I don't know if you guys saw it on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. There's some wee fannies, is probably the best way to describe them. I don't think they were skateboarders. I got an email from the manager of the Transport Museum who's great, and he's only sort of working towards catering for skateboarders. I mean, that sort of whole part of the museum was built for us.
Yeah.
And it's to be taken care of by us as well. If we love the space, then we take care of it.
Yeah, no, 100% with rights come responsibilities.
Exactly.
It's probably one of the coolest spots out here at the moment.
It's incredible, and all they want to do is continue to cater for us and make it bigger and better.
That's
but
awesome,
they're not
man.
going to do that if we have wee guys sort of come in and sort of giving skateboarders a bad name, the sort of graffiti writing, sort of drinking, weed smoking, sort of good for nothing, sit around sort of thing, which we're not.
But that's the label that
It's easy to give us that label, especially if you're going to be writing on big walls that don't have any other graffiti on it.
No, I did share it. Like, I thought it was just
little shit like see a nice bit of street art and that. Like, hell yeah, brilliant. Certain places, maybe not the Transport Museum, maybe not there.
For the
skate
skate parks.
art, but skate parks, street art, but like shitty little tags and stuff like
The
that.
Transport
It just makes
Museum
the
is
place
much,
look shit.
you know, public space as
yeah.
well.
It is, yeah.
New question. Please on Crete.
What's he saying?
Give us a story about a skate trip or skate holiday you've been on.
You're looking at me.
London. me and this guy went down to SLS, you know, London, the first time it was in SLS.
I'm invested right now.
SLS, the first time it was in London. I let this guy do all the shit, you know, the booking and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're booking yourself a hotel in London, do not sort low to high price wise. It was a homeless hostel. It really was, man.
I mean, but before we get into the badness of that place,
the nitty gritty.
I just didn't. I felt scared in London the whole entire time. I thought it was very scary.
We're in the middle of Hackney.
Yeah, we were in. I mean, probably one of the dodgiest places.
Yeah.
But I mean, SLS was amazing. Yuto Horigami. It was the first time we ever really seen him. It was cool. What was the park we went to? Well, the only place we went to, famous for London.
Hackney Bump, South Bank.
South Bank.
of course,
Yeah,
man,
that was amazing to even just be there. It was really cool.
I think as a skater coming from anywhere in the UK to go, there's like
Homage.
Mama Mia.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
The
anyway,
hostel.
this hostel, man. I swear to God, like we walked in and it was like the place was a building site. And it was like, oh, they're obviously like, you walked in the front door and
There was 3 washing machines in the reception
There was 3 washing
area.
machines. There was countless. We lost counts of them, and they were like microwaves. Like, I cannot even describe this place, man. We took a video of us like walking through it, like after getting back after a couple of drinks and whatever one night, and we're just giggling
It
so
was
hard.
just
a
a video of like a shaking
place.
video of like me going around this place, and then it all culminated in like entering the toilet and seeing that the pipe was covered with shite.
Yeah. So the
and couldn't
downpipe
contain
that come
ourselves.
from upstairs, it was literally, it looked like rust marks dripping down.
my
but like the closer you
God.
got, you're like, nah, man, that's thick.
Sounds like something at a train spot.
Literally just about
like
to say.
that. Yeah. This place was ridiculous. Like there was only so it was like the rooms were just set out like really weird, but like it was like wide sort of rooms that you walk through to get to the actual places where you stay. But it was just loaded with broken washing machines, countless
Microwaves.
bits of shit everywhere.
Was there
It
beds?
There was just
there
bunk
was
beds.
There was so my bed
But
was
it
on
was
the
a homeless hostel. It was
Yeah,
for
yeah.
homeless people, like it was pretty bad for the people that were there. But like just the experience of like having been there and it all going totally wrong, was just
my bed was the top bunk on this massive window in front of the main street, but it had like you get like frosted stickers so that you can't see through the window. But that went up to the rim of my bed. So if I unless I was completely lying down, then like people could see me just walking past this super busy street. Like if I woke up with morning wood, like they can see my pip. You know what I mean?
That sounds eventful then,
It
guys. You
was,
had
man.
a great experience in London.
It was a total heat wave as well. So I woke up every morning.
I died in the field.
In this bed with no cover on my bed. It was just this bobbly fucking duvet like sleeping on it.
Woke
man.
up that morning as well to that guy walking down the street with a hook hand and a toaster in his hand, like carrying a toaster, and he had a hook hand and a
So this
really,
has now turned into like train spotting, and I know what you did last summer. At that point, essentially.
it was a good experience, but at the same time it was
The
a very
skating was
scary
good,
experience.
man. The skating was good.
Yeah, it was
the
awesome.
Street League was awesome, but yeah.
I 10 out of 10 would do again. Probably would stay in the homeless hostel again, and 10 out of 10
laugh, man.
definitely
It's
would
good
laugh
laugh
at it again.
now.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad experience, just a bad outlook, you know.
The next few questions, it's just like a speed round. I'll just open it up to you. Just hit it out.
Ping it out.
Favorite fast food restaurant?
Greg's.
Fast food shit. What? Greg's.
I fucking hate fast food, man.
I'm the same,
rather
but
eat
Greg's is the
nachos.
fast food of bakeries.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't eat
Savage.
McDonald's or any of that shit.
Savage Kitchen. If you're ever in Fife, go to Savage Kitchen, man.
Sounds
That is
savage.
fast. It's
Yeah.
fast health food. It's just like, it's good stuff. It's like tasty burritos, like good vegan food and shit, man.
Good. We support that message. Staple drink of choice. Like if you're at a bar, you don't know what you're going to order. It's just Old Faithful. What are you saying?
Margarita. I love a margarita, man.
Love it. That's first choice is probably going to be a pint, but
Tenants?
Jaeger bomb. I was actually at the Purple Cat and Methyl on Saturday, and they sell Buckfast in the pub, man.
Oh, nice.
By the glass, £3.50, like half pint almost.
I would probably just say Tenants is probably the most common thing that I get.
Favorite album of all time, and I feel like the way music is going these days, we're more invested in streaming and songs are getting shorter and we're just picking whatever song we want. Going back to the good old days, albums start to finish as like a collective body of work that you just love it all.
I listen to it as just albums, you know.
Cool. No, I'm the same, but I feel like the generation now, like albums are
Rush 2112 or Pink Floyd Animals, the best
Pink
albums.
Floyd, yeah.
Nice. I can never remember. I can't remember the name of like my favorite artists, or like I can't remember like what the name of albums and stuff like that are. Like a few concussions.
What
and stuff
songs?
And, like,
I can say your two favorite
you'll
songs.
probably know mine better than that.
Rock the
Will.
Casbah by the Clash, and Cheer Up London, The Slaves.
Yes,
Slaves.
I think in terms of, just off the top of my head, I think Paul Simon and what's it called? Graceland.
cool.
Really
nice, yeah.
And a question I love to open up to everyone that has been on every single episode so far. Your favourite skateboarder?
Oh,
No pressure, this can be all time or be at the moment.
Dennis
So-
Business. 100%
nice.
Dennis Business. He's
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
absolute powerhouse.
I can't remember.
too hard, man.
Who's mine again, man? Fucking-
I don't know.
What's my
Yeah, you
favourite
do.
album?
Yeah, you do. I had his poster. on
Oh,
the
Grant
wall.
Taylor, man. But Grant
fucking
Taylor's just, you know,
yeah,
he's,
man.
if he's
the
not
man.
anyone's favourite skater, then
Yeah. He's. If I start skating, I mean, just watching him and like the height he gets on like front side, back side, anything airs, it's just like he's just soaring, man. It's
No,
like,
that's
that's
nice.
like, yeah, that's what I want to do, man. And
too
that
hard
was
for
it,
me
you
to
know.
call on this one. But I think like locally, Bobby Bailey and Darren
We'll
Rose.
go to the local route,
But like worldwide, I guess probably maybe Evan Smith.
Oh yeah,
I don't
you're
know.
a big Evan
But,
fan,
yeah, I guess.
You're a tall guy, you've got long hair, you kind of look a bit like Evan Smith.
But I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's not really done anything recently. I think
He's
you
on-
know, like more recently.
He's on Uma Landslides now,
Yeah.
which is quite big, and they're a sick company.
Frank Gower, is that the guy with the big fucking beat?
The big nose, he's on Anti-Hero. Is he on Uma Landslides?
I don't know. I think he does stuff with him.
Sick, yeah. Evan Smith's a ripper, yeah.
Love to hear it. As always, the word of the day. Each episode we have a word of the day is what we discuss. This week is clothing. So,
Nice to see we're all wearing some.
Good
start. Blanket question. What is considered skatewear?
I mean, it's
It's
like.
become a thing now.
Yeah, so skatewear before would have been like big
Anything you
baggy
want.
trousers, baggy everything. But yeah, now it's whatever you want, man. Everyone's got their own style.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a
Yeah.
generational thing, actually. Like what you've just sort of said there. Like I grew up 90s, noughties,
Tiny
now,
wheels,
The
Tiny
Baggy
wheels,
pants.
baggy pants. I was never really into like overly baggy pants. I think now this sort of like beach pant sort of phase is what I like. But skatewear to me is kind of just what looks good when you're skating. Although you could go back 10 years and I probably would have given you a completely different answer, and it would be like you have to be wearing Thrasher or something like that.
Exactly.
So if you
I
ask
mean-
someone on the street, they'd probably be like,
Yeah, that was one of the
Thrasher.
other questions. It was literally, is there an expectation to look a certain way being a skater?
If you feel like that, you've put that on yourself. man.
yeah, 100%.
I
Like,
mean, I just wear whatever I want.
so like, I mean, I'm loving my baggy camos right now, but like before I had a job, it was like whatever my big cousins had given me, that's what I was wearing, man.
Most of my
Like,
clothes are from
didn't bother
charity
me.
shops.
I used to,
I love that.
I used to get all my boards were like hand-me-downs from other skaters, but I used to get my
Yeah.
shoes and everything
My shoes are Reese gave me my shoes.
The stinkiest shoes you've ever smelled in your life, man. I'm like, oh, thank you, dude. Oh, these are sick.
you guys definitely need a skate shop in Fife.
Yeah, I just had a big career change. I was a plumber before, gave it up to retrain as a barber, and we've just opened Loaded SB.
I love it, by the way. I love it.
Get down for a fucking haircut, bro.
No, I need one. No,
Genuinely,
the whole concept of Loaded, like, I think it is so cool.
It's awesome, because that's the reason Fife doesn't have a skate shop is because we're not a city. We don't have folk coming in buying stuff every day. A skate shop is not going to survive being a skate shop.
Yeah,
so
100%. See, if you opened Loaded on fucking St Vincent Street, that would be like you'd be waiting 2 weeks to get a booking.
Yeah.
Like, because of the location, because of the aesthetic and the vibe that's in there.
Why don't you do it, man?
I absolutely love working there. Like, it's so sick. I mean, I was self-employed plumber for like over a year. I was earning like great money, man, like fucking really good, but like wasn't happy. But now I'm like over the moon with my job, and just like, I mean, I love learning new things and that, and so that whole training as a barber was a great experience. Now I'm sort of past it. Now I'm like sort of at the stage of building up my clientele and stuff, and everyone's just going sick. And then being part of opening this skate shop has just been great. I mean, me and Mark, the guy that owns it, it's been a big learning curve for both of us. Like, he's never done this before, I've never done it before. We're like just working out together, man, making it work.
No, like I said, I love it. Like, I go on the Instagram page frequently. Like, I just think it's such a cool fucking idea. And as I said, it's a geographical construct.
They have one in Dundee.
That was...
Yeah,
like...
I think. Did they?
Hi man,
Skate
Aussies
shop.
in Archive.
Aussies,
but again, so again, like Aussies is part of Archive, it's part of another shop. So that's
you never used to
Loaded, like the barber shop pays the bills. Every single, you walk in there, every single board, piece of clothing, trucks, everything you see was paid by a haircut. That's when the money comes from. There's no loans, there's no nothing like that. Yeah. It's just skin fade, mullet. You know what I mean?
Do you guys think that over the years that you've had any loyalty to a specific skate brand?
Indie trucks, man. That's about it. Like once you go indies, you can't really go back.
Spitfire wheels.
I'm gonna throw the Thunder trucks.
I had a pair of Thunders. I loved them, but
it doesn't really matter, does it?
I suppose.
Trucks are trucks, bro. You know what really makes it is the bushings. See what I really recently found was the Bones hardcore bushings, man. Game changer.
Revolutionary.
Yeah, big time.
I think I would say like Vans is like just kind of like the staple running through. But in like the last maybe 2 years for me, I've really got into my Santa Cruz.
I think
like I really like their stuff.
Yeah, Santa Cruz have got cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
From working in a skate shop myself, you sort of see the difference between things like the sort of core hardware brands like Spitfire, for example, and then you put them up against Thrasher. And Thrasher are obviously this momentous, huge sort of thing now. Like I was in Naples a couple of years ago, and there was a Thrasher store, and it was fake.
Oh, really?
And I was just laughing. I was like,
it doesn't surprise me. Like I asked my sister for a particular Thrasher hoodie at Christmas,
right?
And I was like, please, like, you need to get it from this shop, because I knew, like, her not being in the community or the understanding of it, she could have went on to like eBay or fucking at this point Wish or something. Honestly, see if you like counted 20 people walking down Buchanan Street today that are wearing a Thrasher hoodie, I would say 14 of those 20s are
culture,
fake.
like,
have you seen there's an Instagram video and it's a bunch of guys, I think they're in LA or something like that, and they're basically just going up to people wearing Thrasher hoodies and like, oh no way bro, you skate? You skate? And they're like, what the fuck are you on about? Or they're basically saying, oh, Thrasher's so uncool, and like people like they're like holding skateboards and stuff, and it's just seeing people's reactions being like, I thought I was one of yous. But obviously it is, to me, I think skateboarding is about inclusivity. So if you see someone wearing a skate brand, it's only putting money back into skateboarding.
Exactly, man.
This is exactly what Cash said last week. He said that without these people, like these skate brands to an extent, wouldn't survive. Like without all these people just buying the Thrasher hoodie, buying the Thrasher t-shirt. Like
that's one of the things. That's one of the big things missing. Not so much now, but what was missing in skateboarding is like the money. A lot of the time for folk to be making good stuff for us to skate, like actual hardware wise, skate park wise. You know what I mean? It's
Facilities.
It's a big lack.
That Oski from Oski Rosenberg, he's got his own Lorpiv trucks.
Fucking hate them.
You hate them? Have you used them?
No, but I've seen them, and I've spoken to a lot of people that have quite heavy skateboarders that like they're all sort of different experiences. And
That's good
different
to know,
sort of
because I was
fields.
thinking about it a little bit.
If you like turning, go for it.
What
But
about
if
those,
you like not turning, don't
Ace?
go for it.
Heard of them?
I've just heard really like mixed reviews from people all over the board, and I think trucks are one of those really hard things that you trust your company, like you said. Indies, Thunders, Ace are sort of they've sort of peaked, and I think they're doing well. But Lorpiv have sort of appeared, and I know this isn't about clothing, and we've sort of digressed a bit, but to me, I think they're struggling, or not struggling, but I think they will struggle up against those brands.
Yeah, they're not
for
cutting
sure,
the
like-
mustard.
No,
kind of
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
They just don't look the part to me.
So I was so hyped to get those A1s, the
Ace,
the Ace
Yeah, the
trucks.
Ace trucks,
But like I've seen a couple of folk that have got Ace trucks and just been like, yeah, man, they kind of suck. And I was like bummed, man. I was like, man, I've got my stuff some pre-ordered. Like I was waiting to get some. You know what I mean?
Is there any like local brands that even like print their own stuff that you support?
All over
So,
Scotland.
yeah,
man.
not
All over
like so
Scotland.
local, just as well. Helping Hand, man.
But he's from Edinburgh as well. But I mean, like Solus, Natchbill,
man,
Norwich, they're all
got to
good.
support you, like Stollis, Natchbill, all these companies that are coming into Scotland, and that's like, why wouldn't you be supporting them, man? They've got some sick designs.
Yeah,
and
no,
that.
100%. I bought a Doric
Doric
t-shirt
as well, man.
last week.
Yeah.
I was talking
Last
to him
week.
yesterday. Gary's a awesome dad.
yeah.
Awesome dude.
Yeah,
Dad. Gary, you're an awesome dude.
No, he's just so nice. Like he sent me a nice little card in with it as well. But like
He
it was-
prints all his own stuff as well.
Like
It does. That's sick, man.
it was
That's-
just like the design. I just seen it. I was like, I love that. Like I'm just
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
get.
yeah.
I think
that.
he's came up with the best ones. Like
Yeah, it's
you
coming
know,
some
around,
great stuff.
like,
That Peeps bar, man.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that documentary clip thing?
Yeah,
of
the
that
roughest
Peeps
bar in
It's
Aberdeen.
Oh,
amazing.
yeah,
It's so
yeah,
funny,
yeah.
man.
In terms of like supporting your local, like I think a lot of skaters sort of miss that because they have their ideas and they have their ideal brand and like, no, I'll only wear this, I'll only skate this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
Support the small guys,
yeah,
man.
support the small guys. And I'm
100%.
not saying this sort of back because
No,
I'm
no.
running a small company,
We
obviously.
were the small
Yeah.
guys as well.
Yeah.
But the sort of idea that it's kind of like support your locals because they'll support you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
And
man,
that comes
you know
to
what I
things
mean?
like skate parks, skaters, brands, all these things. Because if you're going to buy a Palace top for 110 quid
Yeah,
just because
yeah.
it's a Palace top,
Aye.
where's the benefit in that? Like,
Exactly.
I
That's
don't
what
see it.
so many folk are on that train of like Supreme and like Thrasher, like we were just talking about, and that so many folk are like so quick to get some of them, but then there's like this guy down the road printing his own t-shirts, coming up with just doodling his own designs and turning them into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also the guy that's like, he's the guy fucking filling in the DIY spots and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like, you know,
Trying
it
to
all
come
comes
up-
around,
Yeah.
man.
And he's invested, he's passionate about
Exactly.
skateboarding, whether it's in your local area or whether it's in just Scotland in general.
Yeah.
The thing that sort of gets me sort of talking about like things like seasonal drops. You look at Palace, Palace and Supreme to me are the only guys that get away with it because they have this mad hype around them.
Yeah,
But then you've got the sort of brands, I wouldn't say below them, but like things like Polar, Magenta, Butter, all these different really cool companies.
Last resort.
Last Resort, yeah, that are just trying to. I think it's sort of, to me, it seems quite confusing because you've got drop, and you have to wait until someone brings out a t-shirt, and that t-shirt might be ridiculously
true.
hard
Yeah,
to
it's
get
just
hold
the
of.
hype.
We were looking
It's
at
a t-shirt.
we were looking at buying in some like chocolate stuff for the shop today, man, and it's like, you know, you're flicking through like they're just a design printed on a t-shirt, right? So stuff from like a month ago is like £12, say, to buy into the shop, and then their new stuff, and we're looking at like pre-orders, it's like 30 quid for the shop. And so for like, I don't know if you know the way it works with skate shops, but you're supposed to
wholesale
like
retail.
you're supposed to like double it pretty much. So like if someone walks in like, oh, that's a cool t-shirt, man, how much is that? 60 fucking quid. Like,
Yeah, it's a bit
I never like tend to buy them. However, like I think maybe like 2 months ago there was this Volcom hoodie, like I just really wanted it. And as I say, I never buy branded stuff. Like never ever buy branded stuff. Bought it, wore it, forget what the fuck it was I was eating. It was like some Asian food I'd made. I think it was tofu or something, and the oil like dripped and went and it was light grey. It was light grey. And it went all the way down me, and I genuinely thought I could feel the tears coming up, and I was like, fucking hell.
You need to get a full bottle of that oil and just bathe it in it, and then it's all
that's
going to be the
man.
same colour.
One of a kind.
And it has been washed like 3 times, and it's just like, it's fucked.
Yeah,
And that
douse that.
was the time where I was like, right, that was a lesson. That's why you don't buy it. Don't
Yeah.
buy it again.
Yeah.
I've always been a sale rack kind of guy. Every time I walked into Route 1, like I'm not even looking at anything on the shelf. I'm going to the sale rack and I'm getting stuff out of there. Like,
Charity shops are the best place to get
I love them.
anything.
yeah, man.
Like,
If skate shops started running
like,
things the way that they did and bringing in just selective gear, you know, that skateboarders like and ran it that way, I think it'd be like really successful.
Yeah, we talked about doing that. You know, you got these like vintage shops where they're like just going around all these big markets and grabbing loads of stuff. We talked about doing that kind of thing, but it's like,
Yeah.
I haven't got time for all that, you know?
I know people that they make a living and they make a fuckload more than I do
yeah.
off of reselling shit on Depop, and it's not even like, it's just going around the charity shop. And one of my mates had an ex-girlfriend, and she made like fucking 60-70 grand a year.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
And just fucked off to Australia for however long, and it's like,
I did it in January. In January, I was skint. I was getting ready to do this podcast, and I was like, I need to make some extra cash. I went through my wardrobe and see like all like concerts I've been to for bands over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I put like loads of them on sale on Depop, and some people, like, I was chancing it by putting the t-shirt for like whatever, the 2013 tour for whatever band it was at £65, and it was like sold in 2 hours.
wow.
Like so many band t-shirts that people were just
Damn,
like,
man.
oh,
Yeah.
like,
I wish I wasn't too cheap to buy these t-shirts when I'm there.
oh no,
Like,
do
could have
it.
been-
Like every
Yeah,
concert
yeah.
I go to, my friends literally take the piss out of me because like, he's away to the merch. I will always buy t-shirts. See if I kick about that t-shirt like after I've had a shower when I come in from work, and it's just like my lounge t-shirt for 3 years. Like I'll still sell it because it's got that vintage feel.
Yeah.
And it's a band top.
That's satin scratching your balls feel.
Sent first class mail though.
Exactly, and it's got some oil, like that Falcon. Some nice oil.
Still got a bit of flavour in it.
I'd say, like, in terms of the way things sort of work from running, from being the manager in Route 1 in Glasgow, we get a lot of people coming in and they see skaters and they're like, we really like that look, we want to do that. So that's why they wear Thrasher, they wear sort of cargo pants or chinos or sort of plaid tops, all these things. And then they realise that skateboarding isn't about how you look, it's about how you feel, it's about the skateboarding, obviously. And that gets people then into skateboarding. To me, that's great. Do you know what I mean? Because you get that you see people making that sort of progression within their own sort of, well, within a couple of weeks sometimes. But you sort of, again, going back to the sort of palace, the sort of fast fashion industry, or I wouldn't even say, like, they have their seasonal drops, but there's a lot of skate companies that do sort of like, right, we're just going to pump out as much content and see what sells, and whatever doesn't sell will go into a sale rack.
Yeah.
Skaters have been quite savvy about it, and they're like, fuck it, I'll wait a couple of months and I can get last season's Polar stuff, which is 100 and something quid for 30 quid.
Yeah.
And I think that's, well, to me, certainly in Glasgow, you definitely get a lot of guys that are like, you know what, I can just wait a couple of months and it doesn't look like, no one's going to be like, oh my god, that's last season, bro.
So that's,
Whereas maybe in the fashion industries you would get that.
No, oh my god, you would. Like, I'm a fashion student. That was
Right.
what I did at college and uni.
And
It's true.
hilarious.
It's true. We're at that point in the show now where, this is one of my favourite parts of the show, we have Song of the Day, where we get every single one of our guests on the whole season to pick one song. This song can be a song that you've liked to skate to, it reminds you of a certain time you've skated, it's just a vibe. And all of these are going to be added onto the Board to Death Spotify playlist that is open for everyone. So, I mean, these guys have listened to this. I've heard me say this like 4 times already, but it is going to be good at the end to just have a collection of, like, at this point, like 30, 40 songs. One song.
Can I tell him to say my song? You probably have your own song, I'm joking. Oh, you're all looking at me now.
I'm so glad you said what you said, because I thought we were all going to have to like sing a little song.
Give the listeners a tune. I'd say Le I've not even. It's by Latigra. It's Rick McCrank. Yeah, right song, and it's called Decapitation, I think.
Okay.
But you definitely recognise
I'm gonna heart that on my Spotify right now. I'll listen to this on the way home. What's that song I like by the Idols, Mark?
By who?
By the Idols. Oh, come on. You said it earlier on.
Colossus. Oh no, it was Slaves, man.
Slaves.
Cheer Up London.
Yes, love it.
I don't know.
That will make you ollie higher. If you're listening to it.
I think I've been like listening to a lot of like Australian punk recently, and like
Do you know Pond?
Pond. No, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like, you know, Amiel or Emil and the Sniffers. They sing a song called Hertz.
Cool.
It's a good song.
We'll get it on, I think, this week. I'm going to pick, no, I fucking know it, but I'm going to pick Starry Eyed Surprise by Paul Oakenfold and Crazy Town. Because Crazy Town deserves so much more. So much more. And they just didn't do more. But he did reply to a comment on Instagram the other day and said they are coming back this year. So
Solid.
I'm ready for that Y2K Crazy Town Butterfly 2.0 moment.
Yeah,
Sick.
But thanks all of you guys for being here, for coming down, for coming round.
Thanks for having us.
absolute pleasure. Yeah.
You'll all be back. But that's us.
Was that over? Just like that?
Just like that. That's us all over. We're all out of
5
time.
minutes, man. That's been rolling so fast.
But thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye now.